Well, the theft, the fraud, and the greatest wealth transfer in human history not only continue, but they're accelerating. And for anybody blaming all of the ills of society on the free market, stick around to the end because I've got something for you. Getting right into it, the Fed expands municipal debt purchase plan to allow smaller counties and cities to participate. Now, this is a central bank that's going to create currency and purchase IOUs. The municipalities, it was cities with at least 2 million, counties with at least 2 million residents, and cities with at least 1 million. And they've lowered 1 million to 250,000 residents, so cities the size of 250,000 or greater. Counties here, the size of 500,000 instead of 2 million. So this incorporates, this package will include now a whole lot of counties and cities across the nation. But when they counterfeit brand new currency into existence, and they give it to one group of people and not another group, the purchasing power, when you type a brand new digit and you credit somebody's account, because the currency is just digits these days, so they type digits and they give those digits to a certain group of people. Where do those digits get their purchasing power? They get it by stealing purchase. The second they're spent into circulation, they steal the purchasing power from all the other units of currency, the other digits in circulation. And so this is a wealth transfer going from the people that don't live in cities of at least 250,000 people and don't live in counties with at least 500,000 residents to people that do. And so this is a wealth transfer, it's fraud, and it's theft. So moving on. On our main page here, this was the article that we just looked at, but more importantly, if you're concerned at all about what's going on in the economy and your personal wealth, and you might have the remotest interest in precious metals or protecting yourself, I strongly recommend that you read Jeff Clark's article down here. It's a great article, Why Silver is Stagnant and When Will It Start Moving? It's very important, and I'm going to show you a chart on that later. But go to our website, goldsilver.com, and the article is right here on the main page. And just go ahead and read that article. And on the radar, is helicopter cash the answer to economic woes? And this is from New Zealand, and they're talking about just giving everybody currency. And, this is basically, modern monetary theory is something that everybody is basically proposing worldwide. And they're going to, we're already doing these helicopter drops. It's going to accelerate. And again, where do these new units of currency, these new digits that they're typing, where do they get their purchasing power? They steal it from somewhere because nobody worked for them to bring them into existence. They were just typed into existence. And as one of the viewers said, I can't remember his name, but he said the difference between 1 and 1 trillion is 12 keystrokes. And that is so true. And, I laugh at all this stuff and I keep on saying, if you can't laugh, you're going to cry. And so, I choose to laugh at it. But it's very important to wrap your mind around how these things cause a wealth transfer and how it causes bubbles in certain sectors of society. This article is very important to read. It's from Mish Shedlock, and so his name is Mike. He goes by Mish Shedlock, and he's one of the few people that really does get it. He gets how all of this creates wealth transfers. The third major transfer from the middle class to the wealthy. The Fed is robbing the middle class once again for the third time in 20 years. The Fed has targeted the middle class for the benefit of the wealthy. Read that article, and it shows you how over and over again, Mish understands fundamental economics, basic stuff, not all of these formulas and numbers so high that only dogs can hear them and stuff like that. He understands this much better than this guy. The fundamental economics. This guy knows supply-demand curves and all of these formulas and equations, but he can't see the forest for the trees. He does not understand the fundamental economics behind this and why it is fraud and theft. So I want to welcome the 1,726 new subscribers. If you did just subscribe, go back and hit that little notification bell, and YouTube will notify you when we've got a new video. And we always appreciate a thumbs up. It really does help us a lot. And then if you just subscribed, and my previous viewers are probably getting tired of this particular slide in the presentation, but go to my website, goldsilver.com/freebook, and download my book. It's the best-selling book on investing in precious metals, but it's not just a book about investing in precious metals. The last 20% is a book on investing in precious metals. I really wanted to get people to understand some other narratives here. I wanted them to understand some monetary history, because history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes really well, and stuff keeps on happening over and over again, but with little twists. And if you see what's happened before and you can figure out what the twists are in the underlying fundamentals, you can predict the outcome with a relative degree of accuracy. So you can sort of see the future. And so the first 20% is a very entertaining and easy to read monetary history. And then you've got some simple economics, the current state of the global economy, and then the last 20% is a guide to investing in gold and silver. State of the global economy, some potential outcomes, and then the guide to investing in gold and silver. And it's the best-selling book on investing in precious metals, but it's also probably the best-selling book on monetary history. I'm not sure, but I don't think books on monetary history sell that well. So, during any time when gold and silver are peaking, this book does sell very well. And basically, I snuck these other things in there because I really want everybody to know this stuff. It's really important, and it'll help guide you through these really trying times. The chart of the day, this is from Jeff's article, and you really need to go and read this article. This is comparing the gains, the percentage gains of silver from 1976 to 1980. So he didn't go all the way back to the beginning of that bull market, because that bull market, just like this bull market, had a mid-cycle correction in the middle. Gold and silver went up until the last day of 1974, and then the first day of 75 they started falling until September or so of 76, and then in that last 4 years they shot up unbelievably. And so it's a secular bull market, it's called, with a cyclical bear market in the middle. And that's exactly what we've been through, a mid-cycle correction. We're about to bust out to new highs in gold and silver, probably in this year, and then it is off to the races. But if you look at comparing the percentage gains from 1976 to 1980, this is only 4 years, folks. I mean, that's not much at all. 4 years, and you look at these gains, and this is where we are today. When you look at the percentage gains that we've had already versus where we are probably headed. And if you include the entire bull market, this isn't 1,100%. It's like 3,700%. It's enormous. So go read Jeff's article. It's on our website on the main page on the left-hand side of the page. Viewer feedback from yesterday's video. We've got Phil that says, about a year ago, I told my dad and friends that I'm buying gold and silver with my super. That means he's from Australia. That's a superannuation, which is the same. It's the equivalent of a 401k or an IRA in the United States. And they laughed at me. Today, I'm up 30%, and they're down around 30%. Thanks for all your info. Learning to see real value and not looking through the fog of the currency, this is a dollar symbol, but all national currencies create this fog, is particularly helpful. All national currencies create a fog where you can't see what's truly overvalued or what's truly undervalued. But there is a way to measure these things and sell the overvalued asset, buy the undervalued asset, and just sit back and wait in confidence of where it's going. You just know that it has to go there eventually. And if you go to a video I released a couple of weeks ago called "What is a Wealth Cycle?" It's 15 minutes, and if you haven't seen it already, please go and watch that. I think that it'll change your life because it'll change the way you see things forever. Flan says, I saw an interview with Jack Dorsey, Twitter's CEO, and he talks about some future global currency. Yeah, not money. As in one currency for the whole planet that will replace all others. Comments on that, please? Do you think there's any way to make a single global currency work? It would be something we have never seen before. I see it as a huge danger. I can't even fathom how bad things would be if we had something like the Federal Reserve worldwide. I can't agree more. This is an enormous danger. It will be bad because, they don't even need prisons anymore if they do this, because it's going to be digitized. It'll be on the blockchain or something like that. And they'll be able to see everything you're spending currency on and where you're at, where all your transactions are happening. And if they don't like you or something that you're doing, they can just switch you off and freeze you out of society. You won't be able to buy food or gasoline or pay your rent. So now you've got to go into this underground society of becoming a homeless person, basically. This is, they just will not need prisons. They can just do this to you at their whim, at their caprice. It's horrible. However, it would be something the world has never seen before, a one world currency for the whole planet. We have seen this before, but that currency was money. When we used gold and silver, that was basically a one world currency. And, if we have a free market currency that we choose and isn't forced on us by a central bank, it just increases everybody's freedom. It takes away government's power to control our movements, and it removes borders. And it would do so much for freedom of the planet to have one or two free market money or monies, gold and silver, or if one of the blockchain currency wins, if it's Bitcoin or something like that, I'm fine with it. Whatever the free market selects, as long as it's the free market and not forced on us by some powers that be. And now we're at the quote of the day, and here's where I talked about those people that want to blame all of the ills of society on the free market. The most important single central fact about a free market is that no exchange takes place unless both parties benefit. This is from Milton Friedman, and it's true. Now, the free market, I have a certain sense of almost worship for the free market. And anybody blaming all of the ills in society on the free market is spreading misinformation, and it proves that they do not understand what the free market is. We currently do not have a free market. Free market capitalism does not exist. We have manipulated market cronyism. Now, cronyism, a capitalist has to survive and tries to become wealthy by creating a great product and appealing to you to buy his product instead of somebody else's. So he's got to offer you a better product at a better price. There's this balance that they're always trying to strike to figure out what is going to make you open up your wallet and vote for their product with your currency. You are casting a vote every time you open your wallet for what you want. And the people that do that better gain market share, and by serving the maximum number of people possible, that is how you get rich. The free market is this wonderful, wonderful mechanism. And I'll provide a link to a paper that was written by a great economist, Leonard E. Read. It's called iPencil, and you can go and get that. It's on our website. We're putting that out as a newsletter. It is absolutely brilliant. There's also a video on it, but please Read the paper. It's only like 3 pages. It's really short, and it is so simple. And I have such respect for the free market that I choke up when I read this. I mean, I get emotional. It brings a tear to my eye, but I'm sort of weird that way. Now, when it comes to manipulated market cronyism versus free market capitalism, we have a manipulated market. The cronyism is when businesses get to lobby the government for special favors and special laws that limit competition. And like, for instance, the Affordable Health Care Act entrenched all of the insurance companies and all of the drug companies and with regulation, when you put a whole bunch of regulation, small companies can't get into the business and afford to deal with all that regulation. When you free up all of that regulation and you don't have something like this 19,000-page document, the Affordable Health Care Act, small companies can get in and they can try to compete. But cronyism is where you have the government deciding who's going to win and who's going to lose, and they do that with regulation and laws. And all these special interest groups being able to lobby Congress and so on. When it comes to manipulated markets, we have a manipulated currency. Half of every transaction is the currency involved. When you buy something, you buy it with currency. When you sell something, you're accepting currency, so it's 50% of every transaction. If that currency is being manipulated through interest rates and currency creation by a central bank, now, when the central bank artificially reduces interest rates, it causes the banks to expand the currency supply for them. The Federal Reserve and the other world's central banks don't have to do it if they can get the interest rates to be artificially low. When you reduce the interest rates, the cost of buying a house becomes cheaper because the interest rate goes down, so the loan payments are going to get cheaper. And that the currency that the banks create doesn't exist until your signature hits that loan document. That's the second that currency comes into existence. And because it's on that loan document, it means you're using that currency to buy a house. That causes homes to go into a bubble. Real estate goes into a bubble then. And that purchasing power, those brand new digits that they typed into your account, is stolen purchasing power from the rest of society. And so the real estate goes into a bubble. And when that bubble pops, it's the free market trying to balance things once again, but it doles out a punishment to the people that manipulated the market. And then everybody screams, the free market isn't working. And so they ask for, like, central banks and the Federal Reserve to manipulate things more. And it just comes back to haunt us again because the manipulations and the bubbles keep on getting bigger. The wealth transfers keep on getting bigger, and we all suffer for it. Please read iPencil, and then you can watch the video. There's a link to the video at the bottom of the article. If you read that, it's just like reading a book and then watching a movie, and it's short. So read the thing first, then watch the movie, because if you read a book, it's almost always better than the movie. And iPencil, it's a brilliant movie, but Leonard E. Read's original iPencil is a masterpiece. It's better. It chokes me up every time I read it. I want to thank you for watching. If you are interested in creating more prosperity for the future, please try to help stop the spread of misinformation regarding the free market. Because if somebody is blaming one thing or another on the free market, other than the free market trying to balance everything and the free market trying to provide us with what we want by us voting for what we want with our wallets. It's a vote. Every time you spend currency, it's a vote. Hopefully one day we'll be spending money again. I want to thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.